Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everyone for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for listening in the podcast. It is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. I'm here to speak about this story and it's really heartbreaking. In case you didn't know, there is a father right now who's facing life in prison because he forced his child to run on a treadmill because he was too overweight. And because of that, the child ended up losing his life. Okay, let me tell you briefly. This is so crazy because you guys know I don't have any kids or anything like that, but I love children, and my mom was a babysitter for many years. I always have kids around my house, and I done vacation Bible schools, all of that. And I love having kids around and and just playing and learning from them. So when I see a story like this, it's really heartbreaking. It's just so crazy to see that something like this happens. And when I see it, the immediate response when I learn about this dad forcing his child to run on the treadmill because he was overweight, it tells you that a dad who does that and the way he did, because there is a video of it, the way he did it, that says that the father had some issues that were never resolved from his childhood. Okay, this authoritative response. One thing is to be a parent, but to be kind of like an abuser like that, that's a child wound that has never been resolved. And there's so many things that I'm going to talk to you guys about, but let me read to you this article briefly. Disturbing video shows accused killer New Jersey dad forcing his 6-year-old son to run on a treadmill because he was too fat. The accused killer, New Jersey father who forced his 6-year-old son to run on the treadmill, did so because the child was too fat, as the disturbing video reveals the alleged child abuse. His name is Christopher Gregor, 31-year-old dad, appeared in court on Tuesday, to stand trial for allegedly murdering his son Corey Micciolo. I might be mispronouncing that last name, but the child's name is Corey Micciolo. In 2021, that's when the whole incident happened. And the dad, like I said earlier, the dad is facing life in prison because of this. So it says here, during the trial, the Superior Court in Ocean City was shown surveillance video of Gregory forcing Corey to run on the treadmill after the boy fell off multiple times. I mean, I'm gonna give you a warning because the video I just watched is very triggering. You see the child running on the treadmill. You guys know, like, when you begin an exercise routine as an adult, it's difficult, and people can say, well, it's a child. Yeah, I know children run everywhere and all of that, but the child is forced to run. And because when you're doing something out of force and you fail because it's being done out of force, somebody's forcing you to do it. The child fell off the treadmill a couple times, not just one time, and the dad immediately picks him up and puts him back on the treadmill. Like, I think the whole compassionate aspect of being a dad completely missing from this man. Okay, completely missing from this man. And like I said, it's heartbreaking to see something like that. It makes you want to cry because if he's doing that and the child, it's not like the child was unhealthy, nothing like that. If he's doing that, imagine that there's such an aftertaste to be raised by parents who are so controlling. Like, you walking a shelf, you can never say anything. The way they speak to you is almost like everything they say to you is like you don't want to do anything, and you're having dinner, they're controlling what you're eating, they're saying things mean to you. And I feel like when parents do that, it's because they also went through something similar, and they're also never, it's almost like there are a lot of, like, to be honest guys, there's a lot of parents right now who are bullies with their own children. And usually this type of people that have kids, and I do apologize if you get offended, but it's not the first time that we hear something like this. And you see it in behavior too. You know those parents that they want to discipline their kids in front of you? It's like, dude, like, don't embarrass, like, take it in private. Like, I know the kids is misbehaving, but take it in private. You see them, like, they bring the child over, right? This is an example. They bring the child over, and because they know the child has not been behaving, they want to make them suffer in front of everybody and be like, well, don't give him any cake. He didn't do something at home. And like, you bring him just to publicly shame him. Like, I have a problem with that. I don't like seeing things like that. If you're gonna discipline your kid, like, don't try to like bully him also. There's something called disciplining your kids that should be done a lot of the times in the confinement of a home, okay? And as a parent, you know, that's where they're called to do that, right? But when there is a bully effect on that, there's you can discipline a child without being a bully, okay? It's so weird to even witness something like this. You see the parents like, well, you asked for more water, right? So now you're gonna drink three cups of water because you kept asking for more water. Like, there's no like compassion. It's like it's so weird to see that type of behavior. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, but I think I saw a story years ago of this mom who got annoyed because the child kept asking for water. And instead of saying, you know, you made a mistake, stop asking, you don't want more water, she forced her child to drink like 2 full glasses of water, even though the child didn't want any more. That's not discipline, guys. That's abuse. That's a bully behavior in a parent. Okay? It's so like how, you know, it tells you how many people need the Holy Spirit, because there's something, like I said, there's something called disciplining a child, and the other thing is being a bully. And it's so crazy. There's a lot of the situation right now with a lot of children. They go home to families like this. That's the honest truth. Like, people can be all celebrated at work. A lot of parents have great careers. They have great careers. They're the most helpful people at work, and they come home and they act like a bully, and nobody can say anything, and go get me my shoes, and with an attitude. It's like you're like so honored and celebrated at work, and when you come home to your treasure, your family that God gave to you, then you are the biggest bully. How weird is that, right? And it's almost like you want people to like, that's when you have to check yourself and be like, that's crazy that, you know, it happens, and you see it happen. Like I said, you hear stories, you read about people that went through something like that, and it's so sad. So going back to this dad, right? So right now, like I said, he's on trial because what happened was this child ended up dying. Let me see here. Gregor and his son were seen on March 20th, 2021, entering the Atlantic Heights Clubhouse Fitness Center, where the boy was promptly placed on a treadmill and began running, according to the video. Footage captured Gregor walking up to the treadmill to increase the speed and raise the incline on the track. The sudden change were too much for little boy's leg, causing him to fall down and slide off the moving track. That's scary. Like, a treadmill is scary. It's scary for me, because I'm always so concerned, like, I don't want to fall, right? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that when you do the treadmill, even if you do it on a regular basis, right? You're like, okay, my gosh, she's sliding, or I need to change my shoes, and things like that, right? So this child, like I said in the video, he keeps on falling on the treadmill. And your dad, you know, when you're younger, you're growing up and something happens to you, or you fall, like your parent comes running for you, and this dad see the struggle that this child is going through, the struggle that he cannot keep up with the speed of the treadmill. Like, I understand, guys, before you come for me, I understand if you think, if you had a bad report from the doctor, and like I said, the child did not look unhealthy to me at all, but if something's going on and the doctor said, come, when you come back, I hope there's an improvement, whatever, and you want to begin an exercise routine on your children, on your child, there's a different way to do things. Okay, you can discipline a child without being a bully, without being an abuser, without doing something so traumatic as forcing this child to run on a treadmill that is he cannot keep up with. This 6-year-old child keeps on falling off the treadmill, and this dad, instead of having some type of human compassion for his own blood, his own child, instead of saying, wait, let's start slow, right? Because you usually starts a treadmill like by walking, and then you speed it up as you get comfortable, right? Because you don't want to fall. This dad, instead of having some kind of human decency, compassion for his own child, he see him falling and struggling with it, and he keeps putting him back. And there is no alarm going off in this man's head to say, hey, maybe this is too much, okay? It's just, I tell you, man, the things that you see is just so heartbreaking. The boy's mother, Bray Mikiolo, was the first witness to take the stand and was in tears as she watched the horrific video. Days before her son's death, Bray Mikiolo reported the boy's injury to the New Jersey Division of Child Protection and permanecing. According to the report, on April 1st, she requested that Gregor take her son to see a doctor. While at that appointment, Corey revealed his father made him run on the treadmill because he was too fat. This child was brought to the doctor, and the doctor said, why you have all the bruises? And then he said that I'm sure in the school they probably heard something about him, something about that is just crazy. That this 6-year-old, like I said, there's a way to discipline, to change something in your child. As a parent, that's what you're called to do, right? If you see some type of behavior that they do, they come home with things that don't belong to them, you don't call them, hey, you robber, stop robbing people. Like, there's a way that you go about it. Like I said, I don't have any kids, but I was raised very well. I had a great mom who raised me. My dad was also in the picture too. There's a way to communicate things, because that stays on the child's head. The way you speak to your child stays on their head forever, okay? So there's a positive way to do things when you want to change behavior in your kid. And even telling him, oh, you're too fat, you gotta run. Like, it's just everything he did. It's like, man, this dad failed at everything. Trying to fix something, he failed at everything. So the child is brought to the doctor, and he said that's what's going on with him. The next day, the dad rushed the young boy to the hospital because the boy woke up from a nap stumbling, slurring his words and experiencing nausea and shortness of breath. A 6-year-old woke up from a nap stumbling, slurring his words and experiencing nausea and shortness of breath. During the CT scan that they had to do on the 6-year-old child, he suffered seizure, forcing medical staff to take life-saving measures, but were unsuccessful. An initial autopsy found Corey died from a result of a blunt force injury with cardiac and liver contusions with acute inflammation and sepsis. The dad was arrested in July of 2021 on child neglect charges, stemming from investigators reviewing the surveillance footage from the fitness center. It says here, specifically by having the Corey run on the treadmill and increasing the speed, causing Corey to fall, placing him back on the moving treadmill while appearing to bite his head, causing he beat his head, causing the child to fall several more times, and arrest warrants was obtained. In September of 2021, a forensic pathology determined Corey died of homicide as he suffered from chronic abuse, including blunt impact injuries on his chest and abdomen, with laceration on his heart and concussion of his liver. So this dad didn't want his son, I can't with this story. This is so crazy, guys. Like I said earlier, there's a way that you can discipline a child without being a bully. A lot of parents, for some reason that I've seen, they think by bringing the child, right, let's go to a restaurant, and your child perhaps struggle with weight, you bring them to the restaurant and you bully them in front of everybody because they have a problem with food, and that makes you a good parent because you think by being a bully of an issue that your child has will make them change. I think there's a lot of adults having kids that have not resolved childhood trauma that they had in the past. This type of behavior exhibited here by this dad specifically, by being kind of like a dictator to this child. Imagine him at home, right? That's why you hear crazy stories about all these kids that get starved to death and shackled to their beds and forced to clean. Like there was a story, I don't know out of what city came out years ago, that the young girl left the home, escaped her house, and when the police to get help, they were being kidnapped by their own family. When the police came to the house, like 20-year-old man looked like he was 15, he was 12, because he was never, he was given very little food, he was chained to his own bed. Like when you see that type of behavior on these adult people who commit crimes like this, something there is off, right? These people were not raised right. It creates a chain reaction, right? It creates such a chain reaction. And that behavior that this dad did for Corey, being like that on him, there's something that he was battling, right? At 31 years old, doing this to his child, there was something that he was struggling with. And a child is vulnerable, right? And you do what dad said, right? You have to obey what dad said. And all I have to say about this story is that God have mercy, right? It's so crazy. And you see it, we see it all the time. We see all the time, I don't like seeing kids going through something like this, and people can say, well, maybe it was the right. No, that's just my opinion right now. All I'm saying that I remember a story, I don't know what year it came out, about this a school principal. I probably did a video about it. School principal discipline, spank the child in front of the mom. That's another thing that I gotta say. Right? There is this thing that people do. It's like they want to see you correct their child in front of you for some reason. It's like I said before, you discipline your child in private of your home, right? If they misbehave, do it. I understand if they're going crazy at Walmart, you might have to like say something. That's different, right? But if there's something that you saw and you like, there are people that wanna do it like in front of you. It's like, I'm gonna get the bell. Like, they don't know how to differentiate time. It's like, okay, there are things that you are to be doing like in the private of your home, and like, I don't understand that behavior. And I remember that story of the school principal. I don't know if it was Florida or something. She waited for the mom to get to the school, to get to the office, to pick up her daughter. And she's like, well, your daughter did something like that. And she started spanking the daughter right in front of her mom, like basically sending the message, look, I can do this in front of you, and there's nothing in front of your mom, and there's nothing she can do about it. Like, God, man, I tell you, God forbid that's my child, because that's the other thing. Like, people have this power crazy thing in them that, like, they want to like discipline your own child. I've seen it before. They want to call your child out, and like, it's so crazy. Like, if my child did something bad at school, like, you send me a letter, you do a meeting with me, but don't wait for me to go to the school so that you can discipline her like that physically in front of me. That's crazy. And that actually happened. I don't know what was the outcome of that. I don't know what year it happened, but it's just crazy, guys. Anyways, this dad is still on trial, I believe, facing life in prison for forcing his child to run on the treadmill because he was too fat. Like I say, you guys, I understand that obesity is an issue. I understand that there's a lot of people struggling right now, but there's a way to discipline your child without being a bully, without being a criminal. There's a complete way, there's a fine line, there's a difference. Okay, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to YouTube and listening. And the podcast means a lot to me. Thank you so much for subscribing, and also for following me on Spotify. Thank you. Half the audience is coming from Apple Podcasts. I finally was able to pronounce that well. Thank you so much for listening on the Apple Podcast. Have a good day, everybody. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. I'm here to invite you to my podcast, Julissa Designs, and it can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can join me every day as I make episodes of the latest news, real life stories, and I also share my favorite Bible verse. Hope to see you then. God bless. Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to know more about me, you can always visit www.julissadesigns.com. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.